Hey, so mega church pastor Stephen Furtick's son Elijah, 16-year-old kid, just produced this rap song. He wrote the lyrics and he sings it. And Stephen Furtick praised his son, saying, "Man, you inspire me." And his wife praised it. The problem is, it's not like a Christian rap song. It's a secular rap song with the filth and the vulgarity that you would normally hear in a secular rap song. So one Christian rapper, a guy by the name of Rustlin KD, I don't know a lot about. Apparently he was in the music industry and he knows a lot about rap music. He actually diagnosed the problem correctly. He actually diagnosed how the problem became within evangelical churches, but he doesn't have an answer to how to fix the problem. As Catholics, we have the answer. So that's what I'm going to address today. But first, my producers reminded me I need to say a few things. And you might ask, who are my producers? My producers are you. I have, by some miracle grace of God, I have 11,900 subscribers who produced this. I mean, all I do is hold my phone and talk, but you guys give me the ideas. Honestly, some days I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I wake up at 3 a.m, I look at my phone and I see some comments and then I address the comments, and we don't always agree, but that's, the beauty of it, because this is how we learn together. And so a lot of my producers email me and say, "Hey, you never mentioned, subscribe and hit the bell like everybody else." So I don't exactly know what that technically does, but please subscribe and hit the bell. I know if you hit the bell, you'll get notified when I post a new video. But if you don't want to get a bunch of notifications, just hit subscribe. And I think it'll just go in your feed when you go on YouTube. So you can keep in touch with, when I'm making something new. But the way it helps me, honestly, I can get better guests. The bigger your audience, the more guests you get. And that's how they look. That's how, busy people look. They want to, reach as many people as they can. And, by the grace of God, we've had Scott Hahn. I never thought I would be able to get him on. We've had Francis Beckwith. We've had Dr. Alan Keyes. We've had Robert P. George. We've had some impressive guests, and I can't imagine if I didn't have any subscribers that they would have come on just to talk to me. So I thank you guys for supporting me. And just, if you haven't subscribe, share, whatever you got to do to get more. And we have a great guest. I've been trying to, it's like, this guy, you're going to love this guy. He's awesome. He's fun. He's smart. He has a way bigger audience than me, and for good reasons. He's just really good at what he does, communicating the gospel. And we're trying to get on each other's show, but he has to do his podcast at night, and I got to do mine during the day if I'm going to do it with him, but I do mine in the morning rather, like right now I'm just waiting, for the stop to open. So while other truck drivers are, on their phone talking to their buddies, I'm talking to you guys. So it's not like I'm stealing time from my company. But when I interview people, I can't interview them when I'm working. So I have to do that after work. Problem is, this gentleman does a podcast like every night. So I'm trying to take a day off where we can do it in the morning. And I'm really looking forward to this guy. I'll give you a hint. He's younger than me, he's smarter than me, and he's better looking than me. That's all I'm going to tell you. And he used to be a Protestant minister. So if you can guess who it is, good for you. But and he's squared away. We got some topics that were really good ideas of his that he wants to discuss. So it should be fun. But, I've had people contact me in the past, and I'm like, this is weird. Why, like, they're media people. They actually have like media consultants and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I would love to have him on the show, but why would he want to come on my show? They're like, well, Rob, you got like 10,000 subscribers at the time. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how that happened, but you guys made it happen. So thanks. So subscribe, hit the bell. Then another thing, when I was a milkman, if you guys were with me that long, I was a milkman, and we got laid off because Disney shut down, and we lost like half our business because everything revolves around Disney in Orlando. And bunch of you guys commented, hey, start a Patreon account so we can donate to you, help you out a little bit. And so my son took it upon himself to start a Patreon, and you guys have been generous. And I mean, the average donation is like $5. Some people give quite a bit more, but you know, I'm not going to get rich. I know there's literally a millionaire YouTuber that has a Patreon account. Trust me, I'm not going to become a millionaire. And if I did, I would do reverse Patreon, where we would just give the money to subscribers who need it. So, you know, as you see, I'm not using the money to build a big studio. I wish I could, but I used it when I was laid off to offset, unemployment don't pay that much. So I was offsetting the unemployment, and then I got a job and not really making as much as I was as a milkman, believe it or not. Blue collar milkman, for a blue collar job, it's a pretty good job. So I took a cut in pay with this job, but gives me more time to do videos. But unfortunately, Joe Biden's war on the blue collar worker is taking its toll. So I was forced to take a second job. So the Patreon account will help me, I'm waiting tables so I can, pick up as many nights as I have to. The Patreon account will help me to limit how many nights I got to pick up. So honestly, I'm just being straightforward with you. If you could donate $3, $5 a month, it'll help out in that respect. And, I can make more videos. I'll still make the morning videos, but, nighttime is when we do the interviews. And I got a lot of cool people that are willing to come on. I just got to work out the schedule. And so, and then the last thing people tell me I never mentioned is my Rumble channel. It's just Blue Collar Catholic at Rumble. And, I talk politics on there. So to me, I always talk politics on here because I don't see a difference. To me, the Catholic Church teaches your home is the domestic church. The father is the priest of the home. Unfortunately, there's some fathers that ran from that priesthood, and the mothers had to step up. And I know I have some subscribers that these women have diligently stepped up to the plate and just do what they have to do. Then we have the local parish that we need to support with our finances and our energy and our time. And then there's the universal church as a whole, the 1.3 billion Catholics. And everything in politics affect all three of those churches. So I don't see how we separate church and state, church and politics. But I know a lot of you guys just want to hear quick apologetics. And that's the thrust of this show is apologetics. We don't talk highfalutin theology. We talk about how we fight this war, how we implement the tactics of the new evangelization where we win back baptized Catholics who have left the Catholic Church, And I just give you tactics that I use in the field every day when people tell me, oh, you're Catholic, don't you know the Catholic Church is pagan? And then also part of being a soldier, you got to be built up and strong. So sometimes I try and make videos to build you guys up, to build your faith, to build your strength. But like I said, we don't always agree on our tactics, but I'm going to give you what works for me. And that's that. So Blue Collar Catholic on Rumble if you want politics, and here if you want to be part of the new evangelization, YouTube Blue Collar Catholic. So getting back to the video at hand, I'm sorry I got off track so long, but I rarely talk about those things. And I actually got a couple emails recently saying, Rob, you got to remind people to do this. Your channel should be growing a lot more than it is. But, God grows it. We just, just like with everything, we plant the seed, we water it, and then we let God cause the growth. If he wants 11,900 subscribers, that's what we'll have. If he wants 12,000, we'll hit 12,000. So anyway, getting back to Stephen Furtick. So Stephen Furtick, he's a mega church pastor. I made a few videos about him. His controversy, several years ago, maybe it's been a while now. I think the kid hit 40. He was in his 20s when, all this kid did. He's like all these mega church pastors. He went to seminary, then became a pastor, never worked a day in his life. And he's worth $50 million. It's big controversy. He built this $5 million home, back 12 years ago when real estate was real cheap in, I think, North Carolina or something. So big controversy how he flashes his money with his $10,000 sneakers and $10,000 jeans, And, but he's a real good motivational speaker, and people love to get their ears tickled. So people just give this guy money. They just love to give this guy money. But the controversy isn't about him. The controversy is about his son. son like produced a rap song, and like it's filthy. Like he's talking about licking girls in places like, I don't want to get too graphic, but he's just vulgar. Talking about drinking Hennessy, 16 years old, drinking my Henny, shooting my blicky, like talking about shooting people. Hey, they rat on the gang, they're going to get shot up. And just like, advocating violence, sexual immorality, alcohol abuse. I mean, it's just a filthy, filthy song that you would never think a pastor's kid, and also this guy, Rustlin, he knows about rap music. And he said the number one thing about rap music that the producers are looking for and the listeners are looking for is authenticity. Like Snoop Dogg and all these guys actually came from the street. They actually know what they're talking about. They actually been in gangs, shot at, shot back. So they're singing from their reality. This kid grew up in a multi-million-dollar home, pastor kid, gotten everything on a silver platter, silver spoon. This guy knows nothing about what he's singing about. It's so fake, which is kind of ironic. Just so fake. That's number one. So this guy Rustlin, emails Stephen Furtick. Of course, Stephen Furtick don't respond. So he figures, well, let me reach out to the kid. So he says, Elijah, hey, my name is Rustlin. I got some experience in the music industry. I'm a Christian. And, I think you got a lot of talent. You got a good beat. Can we chat? So dude's like, yeah, what's up, dog? Yeah, we could chat. So then he tells the kid, he said, what you're doing is giving a really bad look for the Lord, talking about things you're talking about. And, it's really giving a bad look for your dad. Your dad gets criticized, about the amount of money he makes. And you're talking about all your diamonds and ice. Ice is a reference to diamonds, and how you just, walking in the bank. And they're like, oh, no, not him again. You're flaunting your money. So it just gives a bad look for your dad's ministry as well. He said, so instead of the kid engaging him, the kid blocked him. And this is what people like that do. They block you. So he's blocked. So this guy, Rustlin, who's an evangelical, he diagnosed the problem well. And it's kind of funny. I remember in the 80s being an evangelical, and Amy Grant caught heat because she made some secular songs. But they were nice songs. They were like love songs. Just because they weren't overtly Christian like Keith Green and Carmen at the time, she got criticized. But evangelical is just on a slippery slope where now they feel like it's okay just to sing about sex and drugs and alcohol. I mean, there's no difference between these evangelical mega church pastors and their kids than there is the world. I hate to say it, it's just the reality of it. They just become part of the world, and it's just amazing. And this guy Rustlin sees the problem, and he said, the pastor is so insulated in these mega churches, like you can't get to them. He said, it's not surprising he didn't answer my email. You just can't get to him. That's number one. That's a problem. They're supposed to be servants. Like Pope Francis, you see him all the time eating dinner. This is a pope. This is the leader of the Universal Church with 1.3 billion members. And he can find time to sit and eat with homeless people on a regular basis. Sit and eat with the maids and the maintenance workers in the Vatican on a regular basis. Yet Stephen Furtick acts like a king, just like all these mega church pastors. And unless you're a very wealthy man, he's not going to find the time of day for you. So that's problem number one. And this guy, Rustlin, noticed that these guys are insulated from reality. And then problem number two, they just become part of the world. They're making so much money. There's nobody. They answer to nobody. They have no authority. But Rustlin doesn't have the answer, because evangelical doesn't have the answer, because evangelicalism isn't enough. The answer is there's one church, and that church has authority. So you need to answer to the church. The Bible says if a brother's sinning, talk to him like, Ruslin's trying to talk to his brother. Hey, Elijah, you're my little brother. I just want to give you a heads up, man. You got a lot of talent, but use it for the Lord. Don't go this way, man. Not only is it going to hurt you, and he like gave this kid practical advice. Not only is it a bad look for your dad, it's a bad look for the church as a whole, but it's really going to hurt your career, because in rap music, people look for authenticity. You're going to become a meme. You're going to become a funny meme. People are going to make a joke out of you. This is what he told the kid. No wonder the kid blocked him. So there's no answer, because Stephen Furtick is like king of his church, king of his kingdom. He answers to nobody. He'll say, oh, I answer to the Lord and I have overseers, but nobody knows who his board of directors are. They're anonymous other mega church pastors that are all millionaires. So and our church has a lot of problems. I've addressed them in the past, and there's Catholic YouTubers, that's all they do is talk about the problems in the church. But we're able to address them because we have a structure, we have a hierarchy. And Jesus said, this is my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail. So there's one church, and Jesus in the Bible says, if a brother sins, you talk to him one-on-one. Hey, brother, like this guy's trying to talk to Furtick's kid. And if the brother don't listen, then you go with a witness. And if he doesn't listen to the witness, you bring him before the church. But what church? Where do you bring Stephen Furtick to? Where do you bring Tabner Smith, who cheated on his wife with a staff member who cheated on her husband? Where do you bring Greg Locke to, who's cheated on his wife with a staff member who was married in his church? Where do you bring these guys? You see what I'm saying? And you'll say, well, again, I know the Catholic Church isn't perfect, but there's a structure. It's the way Jesus designed it. He designed one church with authority. And there's a lot of good bishops that if he was, under a good bishop, you could have brought him to the bishop, and the bishop could have disciplined him. And it says if he doesn't listen to the church, then throw him out of the church. Basically treat him as a tax collector, excommunicate him. That's the Bible, but hopefully he would listen to the church. But evangelicalism has no church to bring these people to. They have social clubs, rock concerts. There's no structure. There's no, within Catholicism, we argue if some Catholics are too irreverent to the body of Christ, to take in the Eucharist. But we all agree that it's the body of Christ. It's just, and we all agree we have to be reverent. But what does that mean? That's the argument, And they hash these out in councils, and, lay Catholics hash these out in debates. But none of us would ever dream of being in a church singing filthy rap lyrics. I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is just so blatantly wrong, but people follow this man. They say, oh, we follow the Lord. But, people are still donating to this guy, Stephen Furtick, in the millions. He's like I said, he's a multimillionaire. His kid, I'm sure, is going to make money off of this video somehow, unless it becomes a meme, which it probably will. And it's kind of ironic. This is like a lily white kid who grew up in a $5 million mansion with servants. His dad drives all these fancy cars, went to the best private schools, and he's singing about being on the street with his gun and his homies, shooting up people that ratted on the gang. These people are so ridiculous. And then his father tweeting out, I've always been proud of you, Elijah, but now you inspire me. Inspire you to do what? Shoot up gangs? These people are so foolish. It's unbelievable. So, for guys like Rustlin that, are really searching the truth and trying to help the church, eventually become Catholic. And that's my prayer for Rustlin. And my prayer even for that little kid, Elijah. This ain't his fault. This is his father's fault. Timothy, St. Paul says to Timothy, I believe. Let me see if I got had the verse on my other phone here. Yeah, it says, he's talking about people that want to be overseers, leaders of the church. And he says, he must manage his own family well and see that his children obey him. And he must do so in a manner worthy of full respect. 1 Timothy 3:4. I've known good pastors that have struggled over this verse because their kids were rebellious. This is the first pastor I heard telling his kid, "You inspire me," for singing about singing vulgarities, filth, praising fornication, illegal alcohol and drug use and gang violence. So a loophole he'll find in there is, my kid respects me. That would be the loophole Stephen Furtick was using, if anyone ever got a chance to say that to him. But all these guys have yes men's around them that worship, they're sycophants. As you see, he didn't respond to someone who gave him a criticism. So again, my Bible believing brothers and sisters are not really Bible believers when it comes down to their bling. So God bless and stay Catholic.